think it's time to start. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this webinar, how diversity and inclusion can help you scale up your team with international talent in time of shortage. Plus, what are the trends in Sweden? We will talk about that. But first, let's introduce ourselves. And my name is Marjan. I work already 20 years at Untouchables, really enjoying it a lot. 25 years, and so a couple of many years I'm joining this company. I'm very happy in my role as sales as recruitment manager, finding new clients, discussing all the terms and regulations which are needed in the Netherlands, and explaining everything. And I really love working with internationals. And this topic is very close to us because we are used to hire internationals and diverse people for our roles that we have open, of course, multilingual roles. So it's very important to be in line with the diversity and inclusion regulations and everything that's needed to build up a great team. And especially now in shortage is the time to look at that talent pool as well. Being in working in the Untouchables, we naturally work with diverse people, but it's not said that we do everything right. Of course, there's always more things to learn. So therefore, we dived into the material and we will share it with you. And Karen, hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. My name is Karen Björkman. I've also been connected to the Untouchables brand for more than 20 years, 18 years when I lived in the Netherlands, and since 4 years I'm back in Sweden, where I have the privilege to establish the brand Untouchables on the Swedish market. The diversity and inclusion has always been a topic close to my heart, as I've been living in various countries myself, in Switzerland, the Netherlands. I've been working in Germany and experienced the different cultures, learning new languages and adapting to new look at being inclusive in a new environment. That comes very handy when we work with international recruitment or recruitment of internationals. And they say do what you love and love what you do, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
Great, thank you, Karen. So to the program of today, our introduction we just did. We have an interactive session, so please ask your questions in the Q&A and we will answer them in the end or in the chat. And then a wrap up and Q&A, and 11 o'clock we finish. So let's first start with a small poll. We have some questions for you, so maybe you can read it and answer it. My colleague is now launching them. Do you already have a diverse workforce? Yes or no? Sorry. Now I get the results. 89%, yeah, 89% says yes, and 11% said no. Okay, then it's good to work on that. Yeah. Next question. How would you score your current diversity policy in your company? Scale from 1 to 10, and of course 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. And you see the results. Okay, so 3% for 29% is 3, so it's quite high. And there's also still a lot of work to do. 29% and 8. How low is the highest? Okay, quite okay, but still a lot of work. I'm looking at number 3, so still a lot of work to do. Okay, thank you. Is there sufficient support for a diverse workforce within your organization? It's of course very important to see if there's
if it comes from
No, if they're willing to support new policy within that.
Yeah, because a lot of people think it needs to come from the HR, but it's of course upper level management and everything. It's everyone that needs to be involved on the topic.
Yeah. Then it's good to check that if that's, and the result. Okay. 65% says yes and 44% said no. Ooh, half and half, more or less. So time to start with the webinar to see what we can do to make it better. Okay, I go to the next page if it works.
Yeah.
No, it's not working. Yeah, there we are. Of course, my question is, will talent shortage be the accelerator behind more diversity and inclusion? Let's first go to some facts. There is a lot of scarcity in many sectors. More people have become available on the labor market due to Corona, but there are still scarcity in many sectors. Transferable skills, meaning there's a considerable and growing gap between the skills offered and the required skills. So we really need to look if we are able to use certain ability in other roles as well. Traditional recruiting is absolutely a no-go at the moment. It doesn't work anymore. We will find out more later. The aging population, it's a fact. The aging population is a development that is difficult to reverse, of course. And there are more things going on. The shortage in the labor market accelerated due to an aging population and a decline supply of suitable personnel in relation to the current demand. So there are more things going on why there is a shortage. So it's really time to look at diverse and inclusive personnel. Of course, the government, the employers, and the employee can help to train themselves and retrain and continuously training. And the Netherlands, they are very much promoting that. But is there more than just training and training? There is. Look into your recruitment strategy and look into a more diverse and inclusive talent pool that makes your pool bigger. And we have 5 tips for that. Let's go to that right now. So 5 tips on creating a diverse and inclusive workforce. Tip 1, redesign your recruitment strategy. It's really important. And how do you do that is, of course, first of all, develop a good recruitment plan. Yeah, and then a good plan. How do I develop a good recruitment plan? Take a good look at your current recruitment process and your application process from A to Z. Keep it, be critical, have a look and see if there are things missing or old-fashioned way or things that could be different. Define the situation in the company, department, where's the need, where do we want to go? Examine your job description, read to determine your skill set, and the job description, adjust the job description. Do not copy it one-on-one. Who should be a good fit for this role and what must they need? Redetermine the skill set. Write a promotional vacancy text. This is not the job description. Watch out for unconscious prejudices and stereotypes and bias in your job descriptions.
Could you give an example on that, Marianne? What that could be, for example? I see in Sweden with the startup scene and the vacancies there, that it's come and join us and we have a ping pong table, and you know it sounds really fun, but that only attracts a certain group of people. So if you want to have a diverse workforce, you might need to reconsider how you do promote your company and so. Yeah,
we come to that later as well, that you really need to know your audience, how you describe and how you do write these vacancies, but you really have to deep dig into it. And what I see here in this example is, because it's not said that an older person doesn't like ping pong. I like ping pong, but it's indeed good. Will I attract everybody with the language that I use and the text that I use in this vacancy? Exactly. And, for example, for this, what you just mentioned is when you want to attract more women or on a technical role or a technical sales role, and then you say if you then write down yeah, how to say it, be assertive,
flexible, be assertive.
yeah, then it's better to be able to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Write down the behavior. That's what they say as an example.
Yeah.
What is also very good, of course, is to eliminate some biases, to create a mixed interview team for every job interview, so that you have different opinions on the table and that you don't look all in the same with the same glasses on. So it's really good to have a mixed interview team.
We have
interview.
Yeah, we have a comment here from Marina in the chat that the team is diverse, but not the management team. So that, yeah, it's a good thing to look into. Okay, when they do recruit, they recruit diverse teams, but is the panel then mixed or not? So it's fun to see, yeah, how do they do that, and what could they do it better maybe, or in a different way?
I would attract somebody from the floor as well on the interview table. Make sure and make sure you get that mixed team, because when you discuss the candidate afterwards, you see different opinions, different meanings, and that can be an eye opener for the other team as well. Because it's not necessarily that we all do it wrong on purpose. No, it's just because you have a certain image, like, hey, I like this person, I can have a drink with that person in a cafe afterwards, and that's. And with that, I don't know. And then it's good to discuss each other's opinions and see if it's a real fit for the role and what do you need in the role.
Exactly.
And of course, that needs to be clear upfront.
Yeah.
And when the interview panel, for example, is mainly male, it's thought that reacting and feminine quality is objective, but research shows that this is often done on subjective grounds. In this way, organizations continue to attract the same kind of people without even knowing it.
Yeah.
So it's an unconscious thing that's going on. It's really good to keep each other sharp on the things that you notice in an interview, and stay put to what is really needed. And do I see the right energy, the right skill set, person that will fit in our organization?
Exactly.
Of course, it's here. There we go. Train your hiring managers. Make diversity top priority to your management team. When organizing these actions, it's very important to make diversity a priority team within your company. And like we said before, HR cannot do this alone. It should be rolled out in all layers of the organization. It's important to point out managers the new pool to fish for talent. If we don't include this new pool, then especially with the shortage, then you miss out on a lot of talent. Make everyone aware of breaches of the bias that are there. Should not stand in the way to attract the right talents. And then, of course, like it's here in the diversity. HR cannot do it alone. I said that already. It's really important to train your managers, be aware, and it's a matter of being aware of that the biases are there, because it's also can be really fun. There are certain games as well to test yourself. Everybody has a certain glasses on, and if you think like, it's not necessary to be angry with each other when you have certain ideas or an image. If I say to you, the pilot says hello in the morning when they walk out of the plane, how does the pilot look to you, Karen?
Oh yeah, it's normally a white elderly male man, of course. That's what we all have in our minds. But it could be a young colored woman, for example. But that we don't think.
And it's the brain works like that. You set images. It's from the past. It's from it's how we operate. But it's really also fun to think, oh yeah, it doesn't have to be like that. And that's also good to realize with each other.
To be aware of that. That's the patterns in our mind.
Yeah. So if you have the whole plan rolled out and everybody is aware of that bias and everybody's going for the right open-minded situation, then of course it's good to create an onboarding plan. Once you have these people on, you want these people to land really softly and really stay with your company as well. So for an inclusive workforce, it's important that your onboarding is well developed and supported. Share the diversity and inclusion goals and corporate values. And if your company has diversity, equity, and inclusive goals, make them clear to the start. Just like your new employees would provide an overview of the company state, financial objectives, you should also indicate how you build a more inclusive and equitable workplace. Make diversity, now what it says here is really important, involve different perspectives, training policy with a diverse group of trainers and mentors. So they can see that the group is diverse and that you can also grow in higher roles being a diverse candidate. AVC, let me see. So it's really important to make diversity and inclusion part of the onboarding agenda, create diversity and inclusion statements and programs. So it should be already straight away with onboarding. It should be a task to learn the values and the diversity policy. Take it straight away into the onboarding plan. That's really important. Also include diversity and inclusion and onboarding in the software. And I thought it was a really good example. When setting up employee accounts in your HR software, make sure there's place when they can identify their gender identity, for example. Also make sure employees have an open option to enter their chosen name. You know, it also has the same discussion, but should there be still men, women, and X behind a role? You can also take it away, and the role is there for there who can do it. You know, the ones that can do it. Very important, ask for feedback from your employees. So make a poll, ask things. Do you think the diversity policy is correct within the company? How do you feel welcome in this company? It's really, really good to make good questions. If you make a mistake in the team, this will not be used against you, yes or no. People of all backgrounds have equal chance to succeed here. Those sort of things should be in feedback questionnaires. When you ask feedback from your employees, then you can see how the policy is landing and if it's really integrated in the onboarding. Okay, now I'm curious for you, Karen, how is it in Sweden?
Well, they say that creating a good diversity and inclusion scheme, it is good to have a work-life balance, and Sweden as a brand internationally has this how do you say stigma that we do have a good work-life balance, and that's true. Sweden has a lot of nature, and we can enjoy this, but of course you need them to work and combine that with a good life. Sweden is known for this, and according to the OECD index, an index for better life, we score very high on this, and it says that the Swedes, full-time Swedes, devote 63% on their day on average on leisure. So 15.2 hours they do spend it on personal care or spending time with the family, doing sports, etc., etc. And that's slightly more than average in the world, which is 15. So difference is not that big. But of course, the life balance is good, because if a person is happy, then it also makes a happy employee. Sweden has the benefit of having a good social system, which is created out of the government, which makes it easier for the people to, or for an employer to have or to use this scheme in order to combine life and work and family and everything. A couple of topics that is created out of the government in Sweden is that we do have a flexible approach for working hours. This has been a topic now also with the corona, of course, that everyone needed to work from home, and then you could sort of set your own times. It has shown it's positive. The conclusion here is that one size doesn't fit all. So the inclusion part herein is that maybe you have a parent that needs to leave earlier because they need to go and get their child from childcare, but another one maybe also wants to leave earlier even if they don't have a child, or you have someone who only wants to devote themselves to work. So you need to accept that there is differences in the workforce, and that there are different needs also in your workforce. But it's being made possible in Sweden. You also have a parental leave to a longer 1.5 years that you can divide between the two parents. There's also a scheme that you easily can leave work when a child is sick, because you aren't even allowed to bring your child to the childcare if they are ill. So it's a downside on that as well. We also have an affordable childcare. Now the parental leaves I've mentioned, and there has also been a trial for a 6-hour working day in Sweden. It's known internationally. I did look it up for this, and it has not really been really accepted. So it's not gonna break through to be a standard. However, it is a tool in order to create a good scheme for you as an employer. And of course, these are things that I have mentioned now. These are things that are being created out of the government in Sweden. It is also known that the women have, I wouldn't say a better, they are able to work full time because of there's a lot of affordable childcare. However, if we're looking into the diversity, the gender diversity within the IT sector, for example, there is still 63% of male-dominated management, and the rest is female, which is no good, of course, because it needs to be a better balance. So 36% is then women. Within the finance sector, it's 60% and 40% within the management. So there's a lot of things that we could learn from still. And again, this is done from out of the government, but what one as an employer can do is to implement all these things into the organizations to attract a diverse workforce. So distinguish yourself as an employer, and don't always depend on the company or the governmental rules and regulations, but go your own way and then create something where people would like to work for.
Yeah, because it's now well known that people are looking for more flexibility in their work and things like that. And now due to Corona, of course, when remote working, we are all suddenly in that wave. And it's really, there's some research, and we talk about that later, that people nowadays want a flexible opportunity to work, and then you attract also people who are able to work flexible, like parents and things like that. It's really important to have a look at your old situation. How would I like people to work 9 to 5 in the office or not in the office, or maybe even get that 6 days hour working automatically without officially signing it down.
You've probably read about the Spotify that has said, like, oh, you don't need to come back to the office, or I think even Facebook has said that, so it's but again, you do have people that wants to come to the office, so again, one size doesn't fit all. So be flexible as an employer, and include everyone's wishes. Of course, not always possible, but this is a way or a tool in order to
attract talent,
attract the talent that you need.
Exactly. And you need to be able to check people on output, and not anymore like present somewhere in a building.
Exactly. And of course, there are workplaces where you cannot do that. I mean, as a store, there the employees need to be present, or in the hospital, etc. But
that's a different thing.
There are a lot of things to look into indeed.
Yeah.
And when recruiting, there are a lot of different tools you could use, and what is now also in the digital time is that everything is becoming very technical, and digitalized, etc. But we yeah, these are also good tools to implement into your strategy. The digital tools, for example, you can use artificial intelligence and algorithms and even interview robots when interviewing, because then you take away all the personal details and then you only see like the skills of a person. Has of course the downside, because whatever you put into the robot, that's also the output that you're gonna get. So there is a combination of it's still human and technical in that sense. You can also have a data-driven hiring process, and based on the data on your previous recruitments, okay, what channels were effective, what pools of candidates did we use that we did find someone within the right period of time, because it is a fact that if you leave a position open too long, it does cost you more money than even the recruitment cost in itself. So that's good to keep track on your KPIs on that. Another way is then to make your CVs anonymous. I can't say that word.
Anonymous.
Those address and the schools, because there's also a lot of discrimination in, like, social discrimination, like, okay, what school did you go to? Then you will be put in one box because then you might be better because you went to that school. So if one removes all these details and data from the resumes, the pool, or it makes the pool bigger, because then you can attract the talent in itself, and not only because you lived in that suburb when you were small, for example.
I think in the far future, CVs will be gone and you will have a skill set. That's it.
That's also one of the trends indeed. And research actually say that 50% of the applicants are being discriminated because of the name on their resume.
Yeah, that's and it's such a pity to leave those talents out. So if that will help, then at least they will have an interview, and then you get the individual. And of course, they need to be able to present themselves as well in a good way, but that's their
exactly. There's a lot of tests also on the market. So like, okay, we tested the applicants before we even see the resume or even speak to the candidates. Good or bad, of course, but again, it's what you put in the test, and then what do you set as results that you want to know what you get out of these tests. Is very important. So also there again, finding a balance on the test side and the input and the output. It's very important. And there's competency focused recruitment process. That's what you said. Focuses on the competences and not because of they come from a certain country or they speak speaking a language is of course a competence, but looking at the whole picture is important, and a competence is one of it. And then one can say like, okay, we only look at the competence, but then you forget about the rest. So a combination you need still to have, even if you have the technical aspects in the recruitment process.
Yeah, and like I mentioned before, there's a big mismatch with the competences and the requests from the market.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important as a company to initialize a certain training program if you want to get people from another expertise to join into your role. Of course, with bigger companies, it's all set up already. If you just need a good set of brain, be smart, and we will learn you the whole SaaS software solution sales, or we will learn everything. But if you're a smaller company and things are not there yet, make sure that there's training, that people can grow, and that you just need a certain set of competencies like smart, computer literate, accurate, and sort of an energy. Then you are able to reach out to a bigger pool. And yeah, but then you need, of course, that whole training and onboarding and whole setup of your organization. You need to look at that, because the old-fashioned recruitment doesn't work anymore. I place a vacancy and the people will react to that who fit perfectly, not anymore.
And what's a common thing to do also is, because one would have like a quick hire, is to look into your own network and looking to, okay, oh yeah, a friend of a friend might work, but then you also exclude a bigger pool of maybe the right competence, just because you maybe want to have a quick fix or a cheap recruitment, etc. So yeah, be aware of that might not be the right solution either.
Yeah, and of course we can say all schools need to make women more, or women or people in general more technical abilities, or but if we need to wait for that, we cannot fill our companies with the right people. So there are now people on the market which are older, train, retrain. There's a younger generation with the perfect skill set, but not the skills that you were looking for in your job. Make it match, make it sure it matched. With trainings and everything, and diversity, other people, inclusion.
Yeah, exactly. And what when we looked into to Sweden, that they say like, oh yeah, they're very good with men, the gender equality, etc. Yes, we've come a long way, because in Sweden there was a law amended in 1980 that when men and women needs to have the same rights, which is good, and again, women do get to take a bigger part within the workforce. However, there's still a lot of work to do there if you look within. I mean, as I mentioned, the statistic of the management, that is still it should be equal, but yeah, we're working on it, and yes, we are in the forefront of this. What on the other hand Sweden can learn from the Netherlands is then the multicultural diversity and integration. I find that with my experience, having lived in both countries, I mean, the Netherlands is in the middle of Europe, and it needs to adapt and attract all different nationalities. So Sweden is geographically a little bit up in north, and like, okay, we can do it ourselves. However, we're becoming a more global part of the world as well, and again, outside Sweden, we have a brand of, Sweden is a strong brand in itself, that we have all these things settled. But again, there's still a lot of things we can do to promote a more diversity and inclusion here as well.
Yeah, and it's something that is, if you were not already busy with it, then from now on it needs to be in your policy, in the whole organization, because everybody's pooling and the same talent. And we need to look wider to attract the other talent as well. Multicultural talent.
And I've said, don't forget about the individual. So it's very much very important of all these technical tools that has been developed. They're great. It makes us go forward, but we mustn't forget about the individual. So combining the technical with the soft skills, and we're still only humans doing this. So it needs to be a good balance. And the most important thing here is the candidate. So the candidate journey. Don't forget that the candidates is your brand, or will take your brand further. So for example, if you do have applicants and you do not select them because of unconscious bias or because of not a fit or whatever reason, make sure you do reach out to them and give them an answer, because a no is also an answer. Because if they do apply to your organization and they don't hear anything from you, they will maybe not go back and apply later, and maybe later you will need this talent. So it's very important that you do keep track on your candidate journey and keep the communication open, but because, as I said, you might not need it for this position, but maybe in half a year you would need that expertise. And if you failed to take care of the candidate journey in the beginning, then you do lose a lot of accountability.
Yeah, they are your ambassadors indeed.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next slide. That's a nice bridge to know your audience.
Yes.
There has been done a lot of research by many institutions and companies. This was by a marketing company. And the Generation Z expects action from CEOs to increase diversity and inclusivity. It's clear that Generation Z finds norms and values more important. It's all about Millennium, Generation X, or before the Millennium X. They all respond differently to market campaigns and everything. They simply do not respond to the certain offers and marketing campaigns like Millenniums do. We, after the Millenniums, they were in the economy went up really well. All the technical possibilities were there. They're using multiple channels. They are using Facebook to see my life is happy, everything is happy, everything is good. We Millenniums, they have a different approach. And Generation Z is more selective. Only a few channels. Only they are not so trustworthy. But they are able. You can influence them. But you think the whole message of your company should be right, because they believe that companies should stand for more than just their own financial interests. This includes the way staff are treated, actions against ethnic and economic equality, social engagement, and climate change. This generation is much more focused on, I want to do something good in life, and I want to be involved with an organization who has a policy in this. And they are maybe willing to work in a company where nothing is set yet, everything not yet, but they do want to see that they are working on it. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they will not join that organization. So it's not a problem if not everything is set in stone yet, but if they are willing to do that and open for it, then it's okay. So yeah, it's really important to young customers, especially if that's your group, to show your values of the company and also live by it. And they already have, due to internet, due to their connections, a very diverse and inclusive group around them also, and they want to see that back in a company. And of course, we didn't discuss it right now, but having a more diverse and inclusive employee staff will give more opinions, more reason, will give a better profit, more or less. They say it's
I would say that, but it gives you business. I mean, yeah. if you only have like a young workforce that is targeting a young market, you will lose out a lot of business, because you have let's say, if we now talk age diversity, a workforce that is more applied to what your clients are. Maybe you can gain a lot more business because they want to buy from them, for example, or it's like open up in a new country. You can open up within your own country, but just looking to a different diverse group in doing business. So there's a lot of money to gain by working with this topic.
Yeah, and having a diverse personnel staff in your company also gives you more opinions, more view at things, and gives you at the end a better result in the decisions that are made. That's
more proven. Efficient.
But also, if you know your audience, then you can adjust your campaigns to the right generations. And it's very good to see that the Generation Z is still very online and tech savvy. That's but very more specific than the millennials. So it's good to dive into that if you are into the marketing part of your exposure. But values and things like that are very important. And if you don't understand it, then it's hard to recruit and retain the best talent.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. What are the recruitment trends in Sweden, Karen?
Yeah, one interesting thing is that now with the digitalization, and Sweden is also known for their very from out of a more traditional perspective, the engineering side, but it's moving into IT engineering. We're the unicorn city for startups in Europe. So next to San Francisco, we are, on the top on that. So there's a lot of innovations going on here in Sweden. And one trend is the super jobs, the future fit, but it's a job that doesn't exist yet. Because it's moving so fast, and there are new business models, new positions being created. For example, a new job that not even has a title might be that your next door colleague is a robot, for example. So it's moving into cyberspace. I don't know. It's moving into something future-like. But this is interesting because it's something that we need to still adapt to, but again, not forget about the human side. Diversity as a business strategy, I already mentioned that. Like, for example, if you're you have a product and you only focus it on a certain market. I mean, if you open up to, for example, older generation that could also use this product, then you have a whole new market in order to sell your products, for example. So look at that, and also it is important to have it as your business strategy, because people look at that when choosing you as an employer. I've touched based on the data-driven recruitment already. Companies are investing a lot in customer data platforms that gives good insights in the candidate behaviors and needs. So knowing, okay, where do we reach out to the Generation Z, and where do we read out to the millennials, etc. What's also interesting in that, when you're saying those generation things, Marianne, is that these generation things is all over the world, but you can have these generations with a Swedish aspect or a Dutch aspect, or so that there are cultural aspects on it also. So it is a fun and interesting topic to look into also. Supplier diversity, a very important thing that is coming up is that people are looking into that it's the right price and the quality, and also it's been very much that people would like to buy things from a company that is good to the environment. Look for at IKEA, for example, they have opened up the secondhand stores because IKEA is known for like a quick fix with furnitures, and then you use them for a couple of years and then throw them away. But they'd like to let you know that for the environmental side, that can be reused. So not everything, cut down trees, make furniture, and then we destroy everything. But long-term use, sustainability. And the sustainability is a hot word, but also supplier diversity will be a trend in the future, because people will look to a supplier when buying something like, okay, have they looked into this? Look at McDonald's, for example. We all look now, okay, where does the meat come from, for example? But we will also look to, are they applying diversity within their business strategy?
Suppliers, yes, as well with Close Company, of course.
Exactly. Yeah. So that our environmental sustainability will be going to diversity and inclusion, because in the long run, that is what is sustainable in the business strategy. Then, lookism. I'm afraid I don't like this, but it's something called also beauty bias. Unfortunately, it does take 7 seconds for a first impression. Now with the digital meetings, which has a positive side as well, this will be something that we really need to look into, because if you only see someone digitally in 7 seconds, and you have already made your opinion, then we're lost. So there are people that do get their job because of their good looks, but they also miss out of job because of their not good looks. So that's something also to be aware of, that it is existing, unfortunately. We did talk about that we need to involve the whole management when working on the diversity and inclusion. And the bias interrupter is a good strategy for that, because that is then someone within your organization that is the ambassador for the diversity and inclusion. So what's your name here? Maureen, a tip for you maybe is then to have someone within the management team that does really take on the diversity jacket and say, like, let's do it. You know, we need to roll it out and stand out for the good cause of diversity. Because if you have that disruptor within the organization or within the management team, it will spread out in the organization later on. So that one is in a new term called the cultural maker within the organization.
Yeah, that's one of the top roles at the moment also in the Netherlands. There are more and more ambassadors for that, for diversity. And that is really necessary as well, especially with the shortage on the market. You really need to take action to get that bigger pool out there and be attractive for them and be open for it.
Yeah, and then there's a new trend I read about, and it's open corporate social responsibility hiring, which means that you hire people without having seen their resume and skills. So you give someone a chance to get a job, and you let them do for a certain period, and then you evaluate, are they the right person for the job? And this can promote people from out less social good, how do you say this, less good social environments to still apply for a job or give them a chance in order to show what they can. Don't know exactly the details in the setup, are they paid or etc. But it's a trial work, and you give people then out of a corporate social responsibility a chance to show what they can, and not out of the traditional way of looking to a resume and do you have the skills, etc. So you can attract a different pool because of that.
That's a really good point. And of course, in the Netherlands, we have, I don't know, hundreds of temporary recruitment agencies. So this in the Netherlands, it is possible to hire for short term and then temp to perm. It could be used for that. But indeed, the old-fashioned way of recruiting is not there anymore. So you need to think of these ideas, like a couple of weeks along with a colleague. But of course, you need to set up the whole transition, the whole project, the process, and that needs to be really well aligned. Then with that it's clear that if you're there a couple of, what can you do in those weeks? What do we want to see from the person those weeks? So, but that's an option. And then you can indeed attract a bigger pool without any biases on the CV or skills, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Great. I think that was it. Shall we have a look at the Q&A? If there are any questions, I will have a look. No, I don't see any questions at the moment. Do you see some questions, Karen, in the chat?
Anyone, any questions?
And I hope everybody will start working on their policy and diversity, and that this was a good insight in what we see in the market at the moment. I see a chat and something in the chat, but I cannot read it. Can you, Karen?
Everything was clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
And what's important is that don't be afraid of this. I mean, this is something that is out there. I mean, when hiring people in schools, in the stores, it's out there. I mean, we are living in a multicultural environment, no matter where you live, and there are different ages all over. There's just diversity all over. It's just that we need to take advantage of what we can. How we can use this to make everything better. And one mustn't think like, oh, we need to have a big policy for this, and I speak to my manager about this. Oh, it's heavy stuff. It mustn't be. I mean, start with small steps. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, Untouchable stands for the multicultural and the language skills diversity, etc., and the culture that someone brings in from having lived in a different country. Which is a very added value for employers. we should zoom in into that next time, Marianne. But start with something small, you know, and don't be afraid of testing. I mean, you can set something up and try it, and if it doesn't work, you can always change it, and you can always reach out to us to look into your hiring process, the recruitment process, the job descriptions, etc. Like, how do we do small changes in order to attract a bigger pool of talents?
Yeah, and it's very interesting to see that, of course, after Corona, so many people lost their job and now they're available on the market. And now all of a sudden there's such a shortage in all the sectors.
Yeah.
And but also in hospitality, and also, so where is everybody? And for us at the Dutchables, people are back in the country. So I hope everybody comes back again.
Yeah.
And also research shows in America that they can, for 69%, 69, they cannot find the right people for work. So there is a shortage by the age population, the misfit, for us, and the language requirements. So there is all of a sudden shortage, but there are a lot of people without work.
Yeah.
So how do we solve that?
Yeah,
by looking to other people as well.
Yeah, and they're there to look outside the box. I mean, of course, everyone wants the 10 out of 10 fit when you're hiring, because the hiring takes time, it costs money, and it takes time to onboard someone. And in Sweden, it's even harder to let someone go, because we don't have that flexible working schemes that you have in the Netherlands. So, of course, it needs to be, you know, a sort of process, etc. But yeah, throw a little bit of flexibility and dare to put on your new glasses in order to get things going.
Yeah, and focus on output and make sure that people can work flexible. Make sure your office is can hybrid, so they can work from home and they can work in the office if that's possible.
Adjust to what the needs are. Yeah.
And if people don't speak Dutch, then make sure that English is fine. English should be the company language.
Yeah.
And I think if it's we need to, that shortage will only get bigger, because the age population, we cannot do anything about it. It happens. And but also those people can work longer and have capabilities, and it's really nice to have a mixture of young and old in your company.
Absolutely.
What we can do.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm just checking if there's some more questions.
Yeah, we can give a good example, Marianne, because Untouchables. Okay, I'm now in Sweden and a bit further away from you, but you're in the team in the Netherlands still, and it's very diverse. But what does it give you as a person in working this diverse environment and having diverse colleagues?
Energy. I would never be able to work in just the Dutch environment, to be honest. And energy, and also it's nice to have some different opinion and conflicts in certain situations. To get like the aha moment, like that's also an option. So it's very nice and refreshing to hear other opinions and ideas about things. Also with my clients, we have questions around the world about labor, and it's so interesting what comes, what they ask me, and what they deal
and what
with.
We can learn from others.
Yeah, exactly. And I see a question about work permit situation. I think having a company in the Netherlands, we have, of course, strict work permit regulations. And I would say now, to make promotion, embrace the knowledge migrant visa. So if somebody outside of Europe comes here and you need that talent and the fit and the diversity and everything fits with the role, make sure you have a covenant with the IND, and make sure you can hire this person on a knowledge migrant visa. Once everything is set up, within 2 weeks, IND decides and then gives you the permit for the length of the contract. Untouchables also has that confidence. So if the person works on an Untouchables contract for the first 6 months or a year, then we can apply for that permit. But
there was this question if a permit can also be applied for people that are not working within the IT, because these are the positions.
It's of course, actually if you summarize the permit, it's a knowledge migrant visa, but I sometimes say it's a salary visa.
Aha, okay. The more you earn, the better visa you get.
No, if they look at the rules are, you need to earn when you're above 30, you need to earn at least this, and when you're under 30, you need to earn this.
Okay.
And of course, it's not that somebody who works in a grocery shop can just get that permit and you just build up a high salary. No, they will look at the title of the job, but you don't have to do a complete research and give the whole report why this person earns this salary. No, you just fill in the role, you send along the contract. The salary should be in line with the
market salaries.
The salary they ask for, and if it's in line with what they ask for, normbedrag, I'm not sure how you say it in English.
Yeah, market salaries.
Yeah, what they ask for, and if that's in line, then it's all approved very easily, and then you, in that way, you really get quick access to that great talent who is not living in it. And let's talk about Brexit, England. We are very used to use that talent back and forth, England and the Netherlands, and now we're not. But don't hesitate to hire these people from there on a knowledge migrant visa, because that's what they are now. They're third world countries, they call it like that. Make sure that's arranged as well in your company. It's of course you have certain responsibilities, but it's all explain really well what your responsibilities are, and if you inform the IND on time when the contract stops and everything, then you're fine. It's not a big risk in the end. So I'm really happy with that visa. And of course, and also of course, if you're talking about if your target group is the younger generation, then I'm happy that when the students finish their study, that they can apply for a search year. And in that search year, they can work on a starter salary with you. And if you think halfway the search year, perfect, I would like to hire this person for an extra year, and it goes over the search year, then you apply for a knowledge migrant visa, lower criteria, or lower salary criteria, and then you can give a bit extra. And then that person will never lose that right of the lower salary criteria. So not all of a sudden when you're above 30, you need to earn €1,000 more. No, you gradually go up in your salary. So that is very good for all those international talents who study here in the Netherlands. We just spoke to a student organization. They say that more than 50,000 candidates sign in for their studies.
Oh, that's good.
And a lot of them are ready also soon or do a master. Make sure your company is in the picture with those people as well. But of course, not everybody has a work permit for the Netherlands.
Exactly.
They have that search here, and after that, they need to be taken care of. And then you have that knowledge migrant visa, which is perfect.
So a new pool of competences. Then it's good to know, because otherwise it could be a sort of a exclusion of this group, of course, if they're not allowed to use their knowledge, what they've gained in the Netherlands, in order to use it in the Netherlands. So it's a good thing that they do that.
Yeah, the government wants the people to stay in the Netherlands and work, and that's why they.
So Sweden could learn from that.
Okay, they study here, and they want those people to use their expertise in the Netherlands. That's why they gave the search year. They can still apply for it 3 years after their study, so they can go back home, earn some money, see their parents, and go back to us. What to you in Sweden?
Because otherwise they need to leave because the time's up, and then it's all expired, and then it's all for nothing, of course. So that's a good thing. Yeah.
So I would advise more companies to apply for that confidence. Well, it's time to wrap up, Karen. I would like to thank everybody for joining this webinar, and I hope it was clear, and I hope it gives you some energy and guideline to start.
And don't hesitate to reach out if you need any advice. One advice is, of course, when doing recruitment and for the diversity and inclusion, is then to use an agency that is specialized in this. We're one of them, but there are, of course, others on the market as well.
And if not, using agencies, and make sure that everything we talked about is in line with your company, and that people really want to work at your company because it's so diverse and inclusive. Okay.
Exactly.
Well, have a nice weekend, everybody. Thank you very much.
Have a nice summer also.
Thank you.
Take care,
Bye, Karen.
Bye-bye.